Welcome to the Emerging Lawyer series at the Coffee Conversation Show powered by the Emerging India Forum, TIF, and a tech partner, Prime Infotech Solution. Theme is Investments, Arbitrations, and Beyond. Coffee with Dr. Argha Kumar Jena, a dynamic international lawyer whose journey spans India, Germany, Italy, and beyond. With expertise in international dispute resolution, investment arbitration, trade law, ISD, Dr. Jena has advised governments, represented clients in global forums, and contributed to shaping some of the most significant bilateral and multilateral negotiations of recent years. From working at the Ministry of Finance to teaching across top global universities, his story is one of intellectual rigor, cultural immersion, and professional excellence. This conversation will give us a peek into the making of a truly global legal professional, and also we understand Arga as a person. So, welcome, Arga, today's coffee conversation.
Thank you so much, Mr. Virani, for having me. It's a pleasure.
Okay. So let me explain you. There'll be three rounds: professional, personal, and a surprise rapid fire round where you will be in the hot seat. You have to be witty, fun, and quick. And here's legal AI. Everyone is talking, and this book will be authored and given to you when we meet in person. So I would like to
Awesome.
hand it over to you.
Right.
Chalo. Yeah. So let's begin. Friend, I'm Lion Amir Virani, host at Coffee Corner, legal tech evangelist at Coffee Conversation. Oh, sorry. Uh, I'm Lion Amir Virani, host at Coffee Corner Legal Tech, evangelist at Prime Infotech Solution, author of 15 books. So, my first question, Arga. You have worked across India, Germany, and Italy. How has this cross border exposure shaped your outlook on international law? And how has the journey been traveling to different countries, managing multi time zones, multicultural? And right now, you are in yeah, Berlin, Germany, and this is like an international episode at the Coffee Corner Show. So let's begin from your side.
So, in terms of what the exposure does, I think I will just give you a very small snippet regarding the fact that I've made friends from different parts of the world, and when we sit and we often have conversations, and when I go back and reflect on them, I realize, and it has happened over a period of time that I realize that these people uh, have often used the word called well traveled. So the perspective of a well-traveled person is something that is it's not an anecdote, it's a manifestation of what Aristotle said, that a mark of an educated mind is the ability to entertain a thought without agreeing to it. And as a lawyer, and especially an international lawyer in anybody's own right, one has to first understand that the fundamentals of what we believe law and legality should be can be rather different in different parts of the world. And a true internationalized mind actually entertains all of the differences and sees what dispute resolution can be like, whether it's a negotiation, whether it's mediation or an arbitration process. But yeah, when it comes to Italy, Germany, and India, and or Singapore or any one other places, each of these jurisdictions have their own characteristics, their own ways of thinking, their own culture that spills over into their work processes. Like the Germans are very punctual, the Italians are a little more stylish, and so they would always want something to have a little bit of finesse, even in the arguments. And when it comes to Indians, we like to think from all angles possible. So we like to be adaptable. So, I mean, this is what I believe the interesting characteristics are from different parts of the world. At least the three jurisdictions that I've worked very closely. When it comes
Yeah.
to something like the Nordics, it's slightly different in the sense that the Nordics are about they're very outcome oriented and they were very time bound. So
Yep.
there can be several examples to go into this. I don't want to get into the details unless you require me to. But
No, no.
the
That is
point
another
is,
topic.
yeah,
So I would like to plan अपना ये क्या बोलते हैं panel discussion on arbitration in different अपना ये cross countries. So
right.
have speakers from you will be one from India, from Germany, Italy, ये Nordic, and
Hmm.
get them on one table and have this free flowing conversation. Okay, how? is working. But in brief, you have shared because दूसरे सब questions वो रह जाएंगे.
Right, right.
तो यही टॉपिक में आपने इतना डेप्थ में डाल दिया कि आई एम गेटिंग एक्साइटेड कि भाई व्हेन अपना ये इंटरनेशनल डिस्प्यूट लॉयर्स मीटिंग क्या होने वाला है दैट डे.
Right.
So let's go to the next question and dive deep into conversation.
Mhm.
So, Arga, how do you manage high pressure situations like cross border disputes that involve millions or even billions of rupees at stake?
Well, there's one thing that I think all of my mentors have taught me is that it is not the quantum, it is the case. So, irrespective of whether it is a $5,000 case or a $5 million case or a $5 billion case, the amount of work that goes into the legality of it to making a good argument does not change. So it is about consistent quality of legal services, and especially when you're working in high stake matters, it is about delivering premium legal services to people who can afford a high end litigation or high end dispute resolution. So for that, the amount of the same client might have a $5,000 problem or a $5 billion problem, but the quality has to be the same. In terms of what I would do to manage, the answer might seem a little abstract, but I assure you it is not. I truly sincerely love my subject, which means that if I actually have to work 20 hours for 3 days, my body won't give up, because I really want to get something done, because it's a combination of two, which means that I at least like to think that primarily I subscribed to the idea of providing high quality legal services, and number two is that I am very passionate about my subject, so I would take the time that it requires.
Wow. So, Arga, how different is advising government compared to representing private clients in disputes?
Well, the processes are I mean, the advisory process would be the same, but the people that it is just like speaking. So the people that we would talk to, or the people who would need the advice, are different. And the government has, of course, several people in the hierarchy who would require, whose questions would need to be answered. So we have to get to different levels of understanding at different points, understand where each of these people are coming from, and the conversations could be longer. But when it comes to a private company, or it also happens when you are in a bigger company, or you're advising a bigger company, that there could be other people in the hierarchy. But usually in private entities, you always have a point of contact and an authorized person who is actually going back and explaining. So, or we directly, because if it's higher stake, we directly explain things or advise to the decision maker itself. So I think the timelines are slightly different, but when it comes to considerations in the government, it would be again different, because you would have macroeconomic perspectives or public interest perspectives, which can also happen in a private entity advisory, but at different considerations or different requirements, because the mandates are something that would decide what kind of advisory we provide.
Wow. So, having contributed to India's bilateral investment treaty negotiations, what do you think is India's biggest challenge in balancing protection and sovereignty?
Well, I mean, first of all, I must declare that when I worked with the government, I signed my declaration on the Official Secrets Act. So I cannot disclose official positions that I was privy to. But as a detached observer, if you ask me, like personally as a scholar, in terms of
Yeah.
why or what could be the challenges of India, is because India has faced a lot of like we have. I think there was a report of the Ministry of External Affairs somewhere around 2020, 19 or 20, which laid out around 40 active or 40 investment arbitration notices that India had received. So we the we have had we are at the center of what public legitimacy crisis of ISDS is concerned, which means that there was a time that BITs were signed left, right, and center in the 90s. And we signed our first BIT as the Republic of India in 94 with England. And it went on for about 10, 15 years that we signed BITs without looking anywhere else. And then suddenly the trigger came, and we faced what is the wrath of a broadly drafted document would be. And the challenge, I think, is the lack of jurisprudence or the lack of precedence in international law, and especially something as unique as investor state. Because I think a lot of people don't appreciate the fact that investor state arbitration is the only forum in the world where a private entity, an individual, or a company can sue a government of another world, which can be 50,000 miles away, in an international forum, and get an award by which they can attack. If they win, they can attack the assets of the sovereign in all countries, at least 158 countries, if not more. So the thing is that this is a tool that can destabilize economies if somebody uses it really well. It is that risky. So it is a unique tool. It's a unicorn in itself when it comes to the practice of international law, or international private law, as you might want to call it. Um, but coming back to the point, India's challenge, I believe, is now, because in 2016 we terminated all the BITs, about I think 79 BITs, and 69 79. Please don't quote me on the number on that. But the thing is, the now India is at the precipice of signing new BITs, and we have signed, I think, 7 or 8 of them. I was a part of a few of them. And I think very recently, I think day before yesterday, India and Israel signed their own new BIT. So there's a lot happening, but I would think India's challenge would be, broadly speaking, getting on to what is called the new generation of BITs, because, and also minimizing the impact of the sunset periods of the terminated BITs. Because for the UAE BIT, I can tell you, for the benefit of the listeners, sunset period is something uh, that when the treaty is terminated, we tell the sunset period says the treaty will survive for so and so years for the existing investors to get them the time to divest if required. Effectively, that is the idea. But when it comes to new generation treaties, so with UAE, we signed a new treaty, and the treaty is public now. So you can see that the effect of the new treaty on the sunset period is something we have considered in that very treaty text. So new generation treaties interacting with old generation treaties, and getting on to the new generation, convincing other people, other countries, that we need a better or a slightly more nuanced ISDS than it was in the past. I think the ISDS or the investment treaties are in its adolescence, and we are at the precipice of it as India.
Wow. So, as someone with both academic and practice experience, how do you balance research rigor with real world application?
Well, I do not know what is the complex answer to that. I mean, for me, it's a rather simple thing, because I only took or I only worked on international economic law in different fronts. So I was working with a professor in Europe. He had all sorts of engagement, largely in investor state arbitration. Then I came across my PhD supervisor in Rome. He was somebody who worked in the FDI space a lot, which means there's something called golden powers in Italy. So incoming FDI is screened. So FDI screening. So it's all the lifetime of an investment. So a foreign investment enters the country, it operates in the country, and it has a problem in the country. Then they try to go to those countries' courts, and if they succeed, they do not succeed, or there's an overarching problem, policy problem, they go for an ISDS case. So this entire lifetime is what, and I worked. My PhD was in FDI screening, sustainable development goals, economic policies, and a part of it was WTO law and ISDS. Then I was working with the legal, I mean, my professor, who was a legal expert, arbitrator, and counsel in different cases. So I was leading his team in the end when we were doing ISDS cases in different capacities. So for me, it was, I mean, it was different things, but it was all culminating. It was all connected to each other. So I really did not have too much trouble. I mean, balancing all of that, because I think if you're doing too many different things which are disconnected, that is where the problem starts.
Yes.
Thankfully, I did not do that. So I managing these kind of things would only mean just a very good time management in terms of schedule, and not over promising, or learning how not to over promise and complete things, only taking on things that you can complete within the promised time.
Wow. So let's go maybe down a lane. What's been the most complex negotiation you have worked on, and how did you navigate it?
The negotiation of treaties or negotiation of contracts?
Anything, whatever that comes to your mind in your tenure, which you can.
Okay, so, well, there's so many. It's
I
but
know, I know. You write a book.
so, yes,
अभी डॉक्टर तो
no,
बन गया अभी ऑथर बनना है.
I don't think. Well, the one of the most complex negotiations were, I wouldn't say complex, but it was kind of talking about a post dispute negotiation. So we got an award against a big contractor which was working for a big construction project. And then the funny thing is, like, in these contracts you have a main contract, then you have a subcontract, and you have subcontracts. And we had gotten an award against one of the subcontractors. And then the subcontractors, to because they had defaulted so much, they had three or four awards against them, and we had two of them against this contractor. And this contractor, and after we got the award, they participated in the end arbitration. They tried to do everything that they can. Then they lost, and this contractor, of course, outside India, forces him, like, orchestrates an insolvency. And they say that now we are insolvent, so we can't pay you the award. So get in line and try to be a creditor. And if the resolution plan works, maybe you get something. Otherwise, you don't. And then the client comes to us and says, well, we put so much effort for the last 2 years to get this arbitration award. What do we do with this? I mean, it's now, as it could be as good as toilet paper very soon. So what do you do about this? I said. And then we had to figure out. Then it was a group of companies doctrine. But of course, when you're in commercial negotiations, you can't really throw law around. You can throw law which can be an impediment, but in those kind of negotiations, it was about convincing the other party, and also softly telling them that they cannot get away with this consequences without consequences. Then when we did a strategy to get to their holding company, the holding company said again it's not possible. They are not cooperating. Then we went to the main contractor, not the subcontractor, using an indemnity clause. We went to the main contractor and said that, okay, you know what, your subcontractor is defaulted, but you are bound by indemnity. Let's have a negotiation of how much and when you can pay this award, and to what extent you have a liability. And then they said, no, you need to do an arbitration against ourselves and not the subcontractor for us to get on the table. But so it was a very big mess. But we finally, I mean, of course it can be a case study in itself, but we
Yes.
finally got the main contractor, the holding company, or two of the investors in the holding company of the subcontract of the company that went insolvency. They had a holding company in another country. We tracked them down. We got their foreign investors to the table. That company's MD to the table, and as well as the main contractors, authorized personnel to the table. We had a negotiation. It went on about 2.5 months, and then we finally got 80% of the award, which was the client was very happy about, because if we were to go into insolvency proceedings, God knows what would have
Mm.
happened. So
Yes. Wow. Memorable. So you should make a case study, and I would suggest now my another coffee speaker has written a book on disputes, and he's come up with a second edition. You can start creating a book on international disputes. So much you have, and I'm coming to the next question also. Eh, you're a visiting faculty and research scholar. How has the experience been?
Well, I kind of enjoy the academic insight. And academic will be, I enjoy being a lawyer. I'm very clear in my mind that I enjoy being a lawyer. But the fact that I did my doctorate there, and I was in Rome, where I was very close to the headquarters of UNITWA. And UNITWA, as you know, was the legal advisory body to the League of Nations far before United Nations. And today it's a IO of, it's an international organization with 38 member countries, including India. So we had I was very close to the headquarters there. There were people who referred me, had conversations. And then I was lucky to be invited to be a scholar, visiting scholar there. And the good thing is that it is a temple of private international law. And coming to the core of the question is what what the academic insight would be. A true academic in private, public or private international law is enjoys getting lost in questions. And sometimes open-ended discussions are not possible, and most times it's not possible in a professional setup as a lawyer when you have to advise to certain ends. So, an academic insight, I believe, is imperative for somebody who has passion for the subject. And as I confessed, that this is something that I enjoy getting into. So, I could get into a question and try to analyze from all ends after 10 hours, not have an answer, and still be happy about it. So, that is what academia is about. It's endless research. And because these are social sciences, so interacting with intelligent people is one of the core requirements of an academic apart from just reading, and also access to resources. So these kind of organizations like UNITWA or Max Planck Institute or Lauterbach Center, as a scholar you get access to resources that
Yeah.
open your mind. You can't always talk about things that you can read about. So you need resources and people who are equally passionate. That is what the point of visiting scholarships are. When it comes to teaching, thankfully, I have only taught masters and above. So people who come, every time I have taught only largely in masters. I think one or two times in undergrads. But in these specialized masters, students already come with the setting that they want to learn a few things. And when you are in a smaller class of 15 to 20 people or 25 people, which is typical in these specialized masters in Europe, it's a very different. It's a more personalized interaction. So that way, I think I also enjoyed getting into some of the depths, letting people know that there are limits to what you can do because we have constraints. But also there are certain questions which are open. I don't have an answer to, but you can investigate and probably write a master thesis on.
Wow. So many young lawyers dream of international arbitration. What practical skills truly matter in this field, according to you, Arga?
Well, number one, I would say know your own country's law really well, because
Hmm.
in the end you are an Indian qualified lawyer. I mean, you can go and stay in Germany or somewhere else, but there will be somebody in that country who can do international arbitration just like yourself and their own country's law. So you will have a downside immediately in those kind of places. And that is one of the reasons why the international legal market for Indians is also very restricted. There are very few people who actually
Hmm.
get to work on a bunch of things outside India. And that is because that those kind of opportunities are carved out of personal relationships, which means that if you did an internship and you impressed somebody so much that they said, okay, this person is dependable. And the trust and dependability is what gets you your next opportunity more than your power of your CV. Because when you're in a foreign jurisdiction as a lawyer with just your masters and very little experience, there's always somebody else who will have better CV power than you. So it is something that I think people will have to understand, that they have to know their own law or own country's law so well that when there is something that comes up from the other side, you can use your own knowledge of legal principles to instantly learn or learn faster what the other person is trying to say. You have to detect differences really fast. and then come up with a strategy to work forward.
Wow. So AI is everywhere. What role do you see AI and technology playing in international dispute resolution in the next 5 to 10 years?
I mean, the short answer is everything without decision making. So it is AI is supposed to be a tool, and it like I use AI heavily in different ways, and it is all about having a good assistant, saving time, increasing productivity. And I think somebody, I do not remember who, because I keep reading all these journals. Somewhere somebody said that it is not AI that will take your job, but a person who knows how to use it. So I think I kind of believe in that, that it is a new age tool. When Google came out, I mean, I'm old enough to have seen Google come out, I mean, new search engines come out over a period of time, and we have learned how to use them in different contexts. And now AI is there again, so we need to understand that, either we use the tool or we don't use the tool. Somebody else will definitely use it, and whoever can use it well, whether be it a shovel or AI, they will do well. So it's kind of like that. But I don't see AI getting into decision making in the legal industry, because if that happens, then it will open a Pandora's box, which I don't know how it plays out.
Very, very, yes. So my last question for your professional journey round, Arga, what advice would you give to young lawyers who want to get into this niche area of IST?
Oh, well, first of all, I mean, like, I'm against giving on unsolicited advices, but since I've been asked, the thing that I would say is, we would, again, do not hyper focus on ISDS. ISDS is going to be a case, and if it goes through into arbitration, hearing, and the entire lifetime, it is going to be something that is incredibly rare. It is not becoming more and more easy. Now the thing is under reform, so we do not know what the new age of investment arbitration would look like. I mean, we have an idea. So I would suggest international disputes is the way to go if you want to go international. So you understand international contracts, international sales contracts, private law and conflict of laws, international commercial arbitration, and then, of course, you'll have to know public international law to understand conflict of treaties and conflict of laws resolution. And then all of these things packaged together can be used in ISDS, because you need all of these things to use in
Yes.
ISDS if you get into an ISDS case. So it is never going to harm, but rather give you a more dynamic career. And then you might come across one or two cases which in your career which are ISDS, and then you'll have fun for a few years.
Okay. Thank you. Let's go to next round and understand Arga as a person. Tell us about your family and your formative years.
I come from a family of lawyers, and my father is also an advocate. My younger brother also took the same route. They're both in Calcutta and or Kolkata, and they both are still practicing law. I think all of us are in different fields, but we're quite passionate about our each subjects. My father also wants to go to court till the end of his life, and I think I enjoy the passion. But I've had different mentors. Formative years. I started my career with uh, Mr. Abhijit Mitro. He's a senior advocate in Calcutta. I did my last few internships with him, then joined his chamber, had a great time, learned a lot from a person of his caliber, somebody who could do 10 complex matters in one day, and which shows the mental capacity, which is enthralling, and the person who would be so calm. And then my next mentor just kind of, I of course did a bunch of things in between, but then the other person that I consider my mentor is Professor Dr. Stefan Hindelang. He's the one who kind of exposed me to international law in different ways, and he taught me how public international law, private international law interact. Then my PhD supervisor, this Professor Dr. Andrea Sacco Ginevri, and who, of course, he's an expert in how civil law operates. And it was it was wonderful to be supervised by somebody who does not even interact with common law, but is supervising a common law lawyer. So he would actually engage me to spar with him, to challenge the thought processes, and that would be great. And then again, now my current mentor, my professional mentor, Ms. Farishta Satna, I mean, she's hard on me at times, but she gives me the autonomy to do things that I want. She is somebody who is driven differently, and the way she treats me in many ways gives me a lot of freedom and a lot of freedom of thought. And as I like to call myself, an academic lawyer, with I do scholarly things and practice. That freedom of thought is paramount for me in terms of importance. Yeah.
Wow. So, what's your favorite way to unwind after a long day of legal drafting, negotiation, so many things?
Well, I'm a bass player, so I think a significant rig at home, and I always have it plugged in so that I don't waste time in setting up again. So
Mm.
on days I just play one of my pre-recorded tracks, and because I just solo over it because it's easier to not think. And when I'm unwinding, I just play different things as my mind or my finger would do. And sometimes, because I've played for quite some time, it's your hands go on to do things, and then it's interesting, and then you get lost in the scale, or lost in the trying of the phrasing of the music that you're trying to do, and it kind of helps me relax.
Wow. So you're among many my coffee speakers who are into music composing. Someone has band, creating his own music and all those. So let's see how to bring all together and have this why this passion in music. Let me plan out.
Yes.
Okay, let's go to now. Your LLM from Humboldt, Berlin. Why did you select to go over here? My first question, and how has the experience been?
Why did I? So I applied in many places, and of course, Humboldt University was one of the more affordable options. And I saw the faculty who was equally good as anywhere else, and there were common and overlapping names as well. The structure was equally good, and I have always heard so much about Berlin being the most multicultural city in the world,
Yes.
more than London and Paris. So, and also, like I said, I'm a musician, and I wanted to attend a lot of shows, and I know Berlin had a lot of concerts, and
Yeah.
so all of that together, the commercial side, the experience wise, that was what drove the choices. But in addition to that, how it was, I think we had some of the best lecturers in the world, from, I mean, anything that continental Europe had to offer, from Dr. Stefan Kroll to our director, Professor Gerard Wagner, then Dr. Klaus Sachs, my investment treaty arbitration professor, also my supervisor for my master thesis, Dr. Tillman Rudolph Brown. I mean, these are all guys who they have not made a life or made a career as a lawyer and doing other things, but they have also made a stellar career as an academic and educator. So it is, I think, I also kind of got the passion of teaching from hearing these lectures. So,
Yes.
so the experience was as good as it gets, and I think it's one of the top ones. Now in dispute resolution masters, I think Humboldt IDR LLM has become one of the top ones in the world.
Wow.
So that's always there. Yeah.
That's impressive. So, Arka, you have studied and lived in Rome, Berlin, Delhi, Mumbai. What's been your favorite city to call home?
Berlin, hands down.
Because of
It's it, it
orchestra.
is too much. I mean, Berlin is one place where you can 10 people from 10 different countries can sit in one table and not have a fight and a discussion. The level of multiculturalism in Berlin is unparalleled. I have traveled significantly, and I can tell you that it's not the same anywhere else. At least not
Wow.
anywhere else I've seen.
So my next question. Thank you for leading me. Let's make you a tour guide. What are the places to check in Berlin and food to have?
Okay, that's yeah. I will give the diplomatically correct answer. So we have wonderful here. Berlin has museums. The museum island has several wonderful museums where you can definitely go and check it out in different themes. Germans are very good at preserving history and culture. Recently,
Yes.
they have opened in the last 3 4 years. They have opened Humboldt Forum. Humboldt Forum has not only is one of those only countries who does this there so well. They've not only put the history and culture of their own country, but also the colonial loots from the time of Germany as a colonizer. So you would see how much um, there's a word in German called Vergangenheitsbewältigung, which means the guilt that comes from the history of unrelated history to the person that's concerned. Uh, Here conversations are open, so it's Humboldt Forum is one of those places. If you want to do a little bit of hip clubbing situations, it would be a little bit in the district of Friedrichshain, where you have all the best clubs in the world. Some of them are famous for not letting Elon Musk in. You have then if you want to, one of the best things to do in Berlin summer is to go to the lakes and have a boat party. So we would go to, because Berlin, Germany is a landlocked country, so you don't have really rivers, but they have some lakes. So you can go to the lakes, and people are always doing things. And one thing which is characteristically different from India is that here beer is called a beverage, and public drinking is not an offense. That's because most people do not create a nuisance. So,
Yes.
so people often you would see have a long walk with a beer. So that is something. These are things which I think, as an Indian, you might enjoy not only the history but also the culture.
Wow. So, Argha, if your friends were to describe you in 3 words outside of work, what would they say?
Oh, outside of work,
Right.
well, what would they say? My friends are increasingly sarcastic, just like me. So I can't imagine any good words. So that's why I'm having to pause. But I think they would say that I'm somebody they can call when they're in a soup. So I think they will say that I'm dependable, and I will be a shield to them to whatever extent that I can. I always have enjoyed that with my friends. They also call me for advice. Um, Apart from that, I think 3 words. I think that I don't know whether it's the second word would be something like yes, very little, or rather intolerant to stupidity. Because if there are very close friends of mine, I'm very hard on them. My associates will also tell you that I'm very hard on them because I have high expectations from the people I care about. And the third thing would be yes, I will spend any amount of money for food. So, so the foodie probably, yes.
Welcome to the tribe. Me too. Okay. Which is that book or movie which has left a lasting impact on you?
Books, several of them, because I think I'm an avid reader. Two books that I would choose in terms of that has left a mark in my mind. One is my own Bible, which is the Bertrand Russell's History of Western Philosophy. I mean, I think that man has taught me more than any living person till now. But in addition to that, if there are two new books that kind of left an impression on me that keeps me passionate about international economic law. One is a pseudo fiction of sorts by Perkins, the Confessions of an Economic Hitman, and the other one is Leviathan. So Leviathan is more about the power of the state and the governance and how economies are shaped. It's of course written by Italians, so I wish I could read Italian to read the originals, but still, it's mind-boggling how the world has operated. I mean, I can talk about another 500 books, but I don't think that's the point. So yeah, those are
We
the
don't
books that
want
are.
that is another topic to have bring you together, all book lovers. You have
Yes.
so much to contribute to coffee. Really, I'm yeah. क्या बोलते I don't have words given by such a remarkable person and so many things in common to continue so much conversations and to bring coffee speakers together. That is a wonderful experience. It will happen soon. So my
Nice.
last one is a googly one for you.
Mhm.
Describe Arga in one line.
Ah, an average individual with ordinary intellect who tries to have a increasingly analytical outlook for everything that he does.
Wow. So let's put you in the hot seat, the rapid fire round. Your go-to comfort food.
I would say biryani,
Your favorite
mutton
color.
biryani,
Wow.
black,
Your favorite color.
black.
Uh, Italian pasta, German schnitzel, or Indian home cooked food? Which one would you prefer?
Italian pasta depends on what it is, but definitely a pasta.
So which one?
I would say a lobster linguine,
Wow. Okay. Classical music or Bollywood?
classical.
Early bird or night owl?
Both depending on who it is.
Wow. Your favorite yeah, classical music singer?
You're talking about Indian classical music singer. So I refer to probably Western classical because that's what I listen to more. But Indian
Mhm.
classical would be, I don't know.
So both, say both, Indian as well as international.
Western music, Western classical, I am more of a Sebastian Bach or Vivaldi fan because it's all orchestrated music. And in Indian classical, I think Pandit Ajay Chakraborty because I learnt Rabindra Sangeet with him when I was a child. But I think he is still today the voice that calms me down.
Yes. Your favorite Bengali sweet dish?
There's something called Shahi roll,
Mhm. Yes.
which is made by two shops, Shen Mahashaya and Gopinath. So it is Shahi roll is the one.
Wow. Your dream vacation place?
Iceland.
Wow. Tea or coffee to recharge?
Come on, sorry, I beg your
Tea
pardon.
or coffee to recharge?
Always coffee.
You're the
Yes,
coffee show, coffee
yes,
man.
yes.
So you did well, and here's a book, Legal AI 101, which will be autographed and will given to you when we meet. So
Wonderful.
our conversation with Dr. Argha Kumar Jena reminds us that the practice of law is not confined to courtrooms or contracts. It's about shaping policies, bridging cultures, and building frameworks for global cooperation. From investment treaties to international classrooms, his journey is proof that law can be both intellectually thrilling and socially impactful. As we close this episode, we take away not only insights into international dispute resolution, but also lessons in resilience, adaptability, and the pursuit of knowledge across borders, and so much more. He has offered music, food, so much. So, like that, there are 500 coffee speakers on the Coffee Gun Show. Subscribe, implement those learnings in your life from those speakers, from their professional, personal journey, and we meet another speaker and continue conversation, cup of coffee. Thank you. Take care.